Evolutionary.org presents the Underground Radio Podcast with your host, Rick Rock and Hardcore Steve. Prepare for the show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, so we're recording. Hey guys, this is another episode of Evolutionary Underground. This is episode 8. This is Ricky V Rock with my buddy Steve. Say hi to the people, Steve.
What's going on, everybody? 5 great topics for this underground episode number 8. So let's hit it.
So we're really going to focus on underground purchasing, underground products, how not to get fake products. How do you know if your stuff's fake? How to beware of fake websites, how to beware of scammers that reach out to you on social and other places. How to best navigate the forums for up-to-date info. And we're going to brush up a little bit again on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and why that's still ongoing as the preferred way to transact in a lot of this kind of gray dark market that we're forced into by prohibition. So beware of fake products and what to do. So fake products are prevalent in the market now. And what do I define as a fake product? I guess a fake product, there's a couple ways to look at it. One is you're not getting everything you paid for. You know, you might be paying for 100 milligram per cc Primobolan Depot, 10 mLs, but instead you're getting 50. Instead you're getting 30. Instead you're getting 90 milligrams per cc of Primo. Or you might just be getting 50 milligrams of testosterone. That's a fake product. You're getting something that you don't mean to be paying for. You're getting something that's not up to label claim. And I just did an interview for the elitefitness.com podcast. You guys could check it out, elitefitness.com. And this is going to land as about episode 41 on the elitefitness.com podcast. And I spoke to a guy named Cash Monroe, who's been Monroney, who's been on several podcasts, one of them being Dave Palumbo. He goes way back to the 90s with John Romano and some of these guys dealing in the Mexican market. And you know, he confirmed what we all kind of already have known and have discussed on this podcast. Majority of products on the market are fake. A lot of these Mexican labs coming out nowadays are fake. They will have just rooms and tubs full of 50 milligram per cc testosterone propionate or enanthate. And whatever it is that someone orders from them, they'll just stick the stickers that need to be on there. Oh, you want Primo? Here it is. Here's your 50 milligram per cc testosterone. Oh, you want Deca? Here is your 25 milligram, 30 milligram per cc, testosterone mix. And it's just all testosterone, different labels, different things. So the home test kits are good for that. The home test kits have actually been proven to be fairly accurate. There have been some people on the internet that have complained that they don't think they got accurate results. But for the most part, from what I've seen, they're pretty darn accurate. They can't tell you how much is in there. So if they gave you, 20 or 30 milligram per cc Primobolan instead of the 100 you paid for, or, 50 milligram Trenbolone per cc instead of the 200 mg per ml you paid for, you won't quite know. It's only going to tell you if the steroid is in there or not. It's only going to ping and let you know if the steroid is even in the mix. It won't tell you how much is in there. So the testing kits are not always the best way to know if you're getting the right stuff that you're looking to get. But a couple ways to know. If you have a source and the first part is you always get good quality, legitimate product from a lab that's been around for a long time and that is making a name for themselves. We've discussed some of them on this podcast, like some of the old school ones like Geneza, Dragon Pharma, some of those brands are along that level, and you could look for others out there. There's some good outfits out of India, one or two decent ones out of Mexico, probably, if that. But you want to make sure you get legitimate. If you're going with something like Geneza, you want to make sure you get legitimate Geneza product that comes from the right source, and that you can actually check the label against what they have for you online and make sure your stuff is legitimate. As long as you pick up legitimate product from one of these really good labs, you're always going to get what you're paying for. And how do you know if one of the ways you'll know your product is legit? Because it doesn't matter who you deal with. Even if you deal direct with the actual guys who are the main distributors for some of these top brands, they're not always going to have everything in stock. You got to be aware of any sources, any of these guys out there that always have everything in stock. That's a huge red flag, big warning sign. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. Nobody ever has everything in stock. Not the biggest brands or the small. I mean, we're talking about a decent lab will have over a dozen SKUs, for a dozen different SKUs between all of your injectables, all of your anti-estrogens, support products, all of your orals. You're looking at well over a dozen, maybe 2 dozen different SKUs of very specific compounds that need to be shipped across the land between China and sometimes Eastern Europe, which is where some of these top tier labs are being produced in legitimate laboratories in Eastern European countries. They're not always going to have everything in stock. And that's actually, believe it or not, something that simple is the mark of a good lab. If you have a guy at the gym who's a local guy and he's got everything, or according to him, he can get it overnight, he probably has a room full of blank bottles, all of them with a little bit of testosterone and just a shit ton of labels. And maybe if you're one of the big meatheads that he knows and has some respect for, you might actually get legit product on that. But if he thinks you're a newbie, if he thinks you're just an asshole, if he doesn't think you know any better, you're getting the switch stuff. You're getting the stuff he puts labels on that he switches out for people. That guy will always have everything. Oh, you want Primo? Yeah, I got it. Oh, you want that? I got it. Oh, you want Trend? Yeah, I got Trend. My Trend is better than all the other Trend out there. It's clear. There's none of this amber kind of honey looking Trend. That's trash. That's bad product. My stuff is 100% Trenbolone clear. Things you'll get those kind of guys coming around and making those kind of claims. That's always a huge red flag. But if you go to a legitimate source, you go through their website, ask them for several products, a lot of the time they're going to be out. They're going to be out of 1 or 2 or 3 different compounds that you're going to want. And that's the real reality for real source. But yeah, the main way, man, I mean, you could always, if you're purchasing a lot from a certain source, you could always find a way to anonymously send out 1 or 2 cc's of some of these bottles for testing through a lab to see that you got the right stuff. But besides really sending it out to a lab, you could do the test kit. You could do the Dave Palumbo testing kit, which will at least let you know if there is some of that compound in there that you're paying for. I won't tell you potency though. And then the second part is just make sure you get really good brand. I mean, even though it's an underground market, shop on name, shop on brand, shop on quality. It's probably been the most important time in history, as far as history of buying steroids, where the brand you shop is probably more important than the compounds you're trying to do. I mean, you could build out the best cycle with the best compounds that have synergistic effects. And if you shop from a bullshit brand or some bullshit guy at the gym and he slips you bunk shit or switches compounds out on you, you're not going to be doing what you thought you were doing. It's going to be trash. Or you can contact one of these well-known sources, and we'll get into the fake websites to be aware of as the next segment. But let's say you do get a link up with a legitimate website, you get a direct email address to a guy who distributes, approved distributor of some of these really huge known Eastern European brands, like an Indian brand that's got a local remailer, or even, you know, a really good Mexican, so something, a good, really good brand, and you get an email address to it. Let's say you're trying to build your perfect cycle, and you email the guy. You says, man, I need this Primo, I need this Mastron, need this Anavar, need this Winstrol, need that testosterone. Here's my order. The guy might just come back and say, hey, man, sorry, man, I don't have that Primo. And dude, I don't have the Trenbolone, the ester Trenbolone you need. I've only got the other ester. And I'm out of my Mastron until next month. You know, things are hard. You can probably trust that guy's going to send you legit shit. On the other hand, you go with a fly-by-night guy or even a gym guy. You go, hey, man, I need that Mastron. I need that Primo. Need that Anavar. Need that testosterone. Need that Trenbolone. You might say, yeah, I got it all for you. Oh, my Trent's clear, by the way. None of that bullshit, piss color, honey color trend. That's that trash. That's that bad stuff. My stuff is clear. Great trend, great quality. You might just be getting fucked. You know, you might just be getting scammed. It's a real contrast. So that's just one thing to know. It's better to shop around what a legitimate source has that they have in stock and will send you. It's better that than to go with a guy who says he's got everything, but he's just going to send you bunk shit and switch compounds out on you. So that's my whole kind of talk there on fake products and what good ways there are for you to know if you're getting scammed. You got any comments on that, Steve?
Yeah, my only comment is, you know, the problem is even these tests that you get done that you can buy online that you had mentioned, those are inaccurate. Those have been shown to be inaccurate. So those can't be trusted themselves. It's kind of like buying a pregnancy test that's just not accurate. I mean, it could be accurate or it could not be accurate. So really, you're at the mercy. And then with blood work, the complicated thing with blood work is,
when have they been shown to be inaccurate? Where on the forums? Has anybody done a YouTube video about it or anything? I mean, where have you seen this that have been inaccurate? Because I've seen the opposite.
Yeah, all the above. I've seen on forums and stuff, and because the tests themselves can be inaccurate too. It's like getting a pregnancy test and you're pregnant, but the pregnancy
could it be
test
that people could it be that they're easy to fuck up the way you
yeah, that could be it could be that too. Yeah. So I mean, it's all the above. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's a high rate of human error in performing the test properly. Could that be it?
We've seen legit sources who, you know, they've had these products tested with these kits, and two different people have tested the same thing, right? The same person, I mean, tested the same thing with two different of the same tests, and one said Anavar, one said Winstrol. So I mean, that shows you that these tests are kind of like themselves not to be trusted. You know, and yeah, it could be user error too, but I mean, so I mean, how does that really help you to get like two different answers? So it's kind of not accurate. The second problem too with blood work is a really good option, but the problem with blood work is the only thing that shows up as testosterone in blood work is testosterone itself, and it's the esters involved, the sustanon, test prop, test NFA, test cypionate, et cetera, but also nandrolones will show up as testosterone. So really nobody fakes nandrolones because they're really, really cheap, and no one really fakes testosterone. They underdose them, or they just make them fake entirely. So you know, and nobody's that dumb to fake testosterone. So what happens is, like, let's say you want to check to see if your Primo is legit. Getting blood work done to check if your Primo is legit isn't really going to help you figure that out, or figuring out if your Equipoise is legit or your Anavar is legit. It's really not going to, blood work isn't really going to help you very much. It could help you kind of unintentionally, because let's say you're running Anavar and you're getting bloated and you're like, man, something's wrong here. Then you run blood work. You run blood work, your estrogen is sky high. Then you know, yeah, that's not real Anavar, because Anavar doesn't aromatize at the estrogen. So in that situation, blood work can help. But now you see why sources are they love this. They love this conversation we're having because this confirms how easy it is to put out fake products and have your customers not be able to confirm whether they're legit or not. So let's go on to the next topic because it ties into it. Fake website and brands that pretend to be legit. So back in the day when I first got into this game, on these forums, you'd always see threads from people with pictures of their products, and they ask, is this legit? Is this not legit? Then you have like a handful of guys chime in and say, oh no, that digit is off or that number is off on the thing. The logo is, is supposed to be lower. The P is supposed to be higher on the box, blah, blah, blah. It was kind of funny to see that, now, because now you can easily go to an Office Depot and you can buy a printer that can print out the exact same label and boxes as these legitimate brands are putting out. So to be able, to just post a picture now, you're not going to be able to tell anything from posting a picture of the box you got the steroids from or anything. So it's kind of silly to even, use that today because anybody can fake it. It's not that difficult. And then with websites, we see this not just with steroids, we see this with everything. I got a scam over the weekend, Rick. It was from PayPal. I think PayPal, one of some institution like that. Let's say PayPal, for example. And it wanted me to click a link to update my tax information or something like that, right? And I got the email, so I thought it was legit. So then I go and I'm like about to click the link and go. I click the link and I go and it takes me and they want my information, they want my social, they want this other stuff from me. So then I went back and looked at the email where it was from, and it was some wacky email, right? So then I got in touch with PayPal or whatever, eBay, whatever it was, and I asked them, like, did you send this? I'm like, no, we didn't send that to you. So it was someone faking it. So we see this not just with steroids, but there's scammers all over. It's like organized crime where they try to scam people. And that's what these people actually do for a living. It's really, really sick. And I think this situation is going to get worse over time, especially, our generation, the younger generation, everyone's on computers now. So we're going to see this trend. I was actually talking to someone about this today because boomers, older people, the 65 and up, the 70 and up crowd, many of them aren't computer literate. Many of them don't use smartphones. Many of them don't check their emails, and they don't have emails, and they don't have all the stuff right on their devices. So the people who are targeting the elderly now, they don't have that ability to have them just go online and bring up their bank account and all this stuff and even access a computer. But our generation, the younger generation, what happens when we get older? We're going to be falling for these scams left and right. So really, this is something that, this is something you have to be aware of, not just with steroids, but with everything. But with steroids, there's people that do this and they're taking a big chance because the steroid community, we're a little crazy, we're big muscular guys. So if you rip one of us off and we find out who you are, we're going to fuck you up. So I think it's a huge, huge risk to do it, but they still do it anyway. Everyone wants to scam. So really with fake websites, you want to make sure you come on our forums and you click the banners. You also look in our signatures, the moderator signatures. We have banners in our signatures where you just click the link and it'll bring up the actual website that way, rather than writing out the website and maybe missing a hyphen or missing a letter. Maybe it's plural and it's not supposed to be plural. Maybe it's supposed to be .org and it's you put in .com or you put in something else. You see what I'm saying? So those are the ways these people scam. So the best way to do it, just come on the forum and just click on the exact banner. What do you think, Rick? Chime on this one before we move on to the next one.
Yeah, the best way to verify websites is on the forums, on the steroid forums. You have to get on one of the forums and make sure to ask around and see, or even if there is a banner on that forum that you're frequenting and everybody's happy with it, just make sure you're following the exact banner link. It's really just the way. I mean, and in the forums, you'll know somebody went bad. There are times throughout the years, bro. I've been in this game for 20 years. You have no idea how many times there was a source with a banner approved on a website. They did great for years, and then they went south. Overnight, they went south. And then everyone from the admins to the mods on the forums are like, hey, these guys are no good or no bueno. They're source non grata. Don't mess with these guys. So you just always want to get up to date information on what's going on out there, what to do. I've gone over and over again for the purposes of remaining anonymous and for your business not to be out there. The best way is to really just work with forum approved sources, mail order, straight up mail order. It's the best kind of way. Getting too friendly and too chummy with your steroid dealer guy, let him talking to him about the game, him seeing you back and forth where it's just don't do it. Don't do it. A lot of these guys will get in trouble eventually. And then if they could utilize anything they know about you personally to get a better deal for themselves, trying to mess you up or people around them. I mean, there's just a lot of different ways that dealing with being friendly with your steroid dealer at your gym could kind of go wrong or develop into something negative, even if it's just, the interaction at the gym and other people at the gym knowing you're getting stuff from him. You're big, making gains. And every time you're in the gym, you have a stop and chat with the gym dealer. Everybody knows you're on that sauce.
A lot of people. Yeah, finish your thought, and I'll chime in.
So this it's just mail order, and the best way to get up to date information, who is good today, who's delivering today, because when it comes to juice sources, when it comes to this underground market, fuck what a guy was delivering or doing 1 or 2 or 3 years ago. Is he good today? Is he still good today? There's some guys that been good for a decade or over a decade. They're guys that were good for 5-6 years and not good anymore. They just turned their whole operation into a scammer website. They might have, there's cases out there of guys setting up websites, building up a reputation for themselves over 5 years, then basically kind of sort of retiring from actually acquiring and shipping steroids. And they just kind of come in, pop in, answer the emails, see if because of inertia, someone goes to their website or hits them up again because they created some history on Google, and they might get 1 or 2 or 3 suckers a week. And they'll just pretend like they're still in business, take money, and then never deliver. And because not everyone goes to the forums and say, hey, are these guys still good? I used to buy from these guys that I found on this forum here that I'm at today, or that other forum over there. Are they still good? Because guys aren't doing that. Some guys will just retire and make their money, don't ship anything, don't buy any steroids to ship, none of it. They just have a couple of dudes picking up Western Unions or a couple Bitcoin accounts, and they'll just pretend like they're still in business, and you just make a few $100 a month that way. It's happened out there. Like this has been rinse and repeat on several different forums for the last 2 decades. So don't be silly. If you're gonna buy today, you need to know who's good today. And if you go on Google, somebody's name, somebody's website, go look, and you look at the results. Make sure that the results are accurate to today. Don't Google shit and then you read a thread and it says, "Oh, this guy's great. He delivered." This is like a post from like 2015. There's a post from like 2 years ago. I wouldn't even trust a post from 3 months ago. I want to hear that shit today. I want to see today that someone says, and people say, hey, these guys are delivering. Yeah, we've all gotten some stuff from them. They're delivering today, and verify the website. A scammer will make their website look as legitimate as possibly can. Obviously, dude, they're going to get your money that way, and then you're never going to get anything in the mail. So you verify the website, verify the operation. Are these guys good today? Are they delivering today? And is this the right website to go to? Or is this the email address that I should be talking to? Or am I being scammed in some regard? that's crucial. If you're not doing that, chances are you're gonna, you might run into a problem. It's just the way it goes.
I was gonna say, this goes with life too. What do you do in these types of situations? Don't go and order $2, $3, $4,000 worth of products. Don't make huge orders. Keep your orders small. This way, if something does go wrong, it's not going to be a big deal. So that's another thing. We see some guys sometimes post like, "Oh, I got ripped off by the source. I sent them $2,000." Well, I mean, come on. I mean, if you send $2,000, it's kind of, you're taking a risk because you could lose the $2,000, right? That's a lot of money. But if you send 500 or 400, right, and just stay patient. Let's say you want to run a big cycle, just order a little bit at a time. Don't order it all in one shot. And kind of like, that's more safe, because if something does go wrong, if your package is lost, and even if the source reships it to you, and then let's say they lose it a second time, some sources only will ship twice, then it's basically a loss, So I mean, there's different things that can happen. So you want to make sure, that is something else too. You want to make sure your source is going to work with you in case something does go wrong and your package is lost, because the post office does lose packages every now and then. I think 1 or 2% of all packages get lost. I think it's only 1% with with the post office, but 1%, that's 1 out of 100 packages might get lost, or 2 out of 100 packages might get lost. So it happens all the time. So you want to make sure that you work with a source that's good, that's gonna reship a package in case something goes wrong. If customs seizes it, are they gonna reship it? Some sources don't. Some sources tell you straight up, "Hey, we're not gonna reship anything." But again, on our forums, our sources are very good. Our sources take care of their customers, so they got your back on this. So don't use a source that doesn't have your back. Don't spend $3,000 on an order for a source that doesn't reship. And then the source can claim, "Oh yeah, we shipped it out." Well, the tracking doesn't show anything. Well, hey, we shipped it out. Post office lost it. Sorry. Read the website. We clearly say we don't reship. If the post office loses it, sorry. Then what do you do, right? So it's just like anything else in life. Be smart and don't risk a lot of money when you're doing this. So the next one is beware of FB scammers. What does that mean? Facebook? What does that mean, Rick?
I get hit up almost daily now from guys on Facebook trying to sell me steroids. And it's really, I think a lot of guys out there are falling for this kind of garbage. They're falling for this kind of shit. What these guys will do is there's still a bunch of pictures from a profile of maybe some guy in another country that's popular there, some strong man, maybe Facebook. Yeah, so these Facebook guys, they'll contact you. They will sit there and they'll have pictures of some, South African bodybuilder, some freaking strong man from Scandinavia, somebody you might just not be able to find right away. And they'll post content every day along with pictures of gear. That's how these guys are not legit. Like, they'll post pictures up, they'll post videos, they'll really sit there and play the role. But meanwhile, the whole time, these are stolen accounts. These are all stolen accounts. And I wouldn't say stolen. Sometimes they're stolen accounts that they fish out of other people. Other times they just clone the account. They grab a bunch of pictures. They download videos. There are websites that can help you and apps that can help you download videos of people's accounts. And they'll build a whole profile with some guys' pictures and they'll, how do you know what's a dead giveaway? Here's a dead giveaway. I mean, how many people out there really, no matter what country you're in, right? How many of you out there are really going to have a Facebook where you put pictures up of your family, videos of you doing exercises with your kids, along with just massive amounts of pictures of steroids. Let's be realistic. Who would use their account that way? You know, and I've seen some of them out there, like some of them are like these very legit looking guys, very legit looking content with a big stash of fucking vials of Deca, huge boxes of boxes of growth hormone. Like, who would do that? Who, you know, because family and friends and people around you are going to see your Facebook. So that's a dead giveaway. That's how you know that the guy in the pictures, the guy in the videos is not the real guy. Very rarely will you see someone behaving that way. And the only times you might actually see a legit one is some guy in Eastern Europe who's an actual bodybuilder and pumps juice, and he doesn't care about his family finding out. Maybe. But for the most part, someone claims that they're in Massachusetts. Someone has it in their profile that they're in Maine, in Colorado, wherever. And they've got boxes and boxes of steroids in the pictures that they're publishing. That's most likely to not a spooky account. It's not the real guy you're talking to. And you might just be getting scammed. You might are just going to get your fucking money taken. You're going to get your money taken from you. And especially if they contact you, if they're reaching out to you. See, good sources, good, legitimate, well-seasoned sources, they're not out there looking for you. Good, well-seasoned, put-together sources, they're not out there trying to get you. They're not trying to find your business. They are running shit, and they're letting word of mouth and really just the service they provide create word of mouth marketing and customers for them. If you are on Facebook and you're posting in some training group, or you're posting in some kind of bodybuilding or steroid group or whatever on Facebook, and then you start receiving private messages from a guy who's got a profile full of pictures of his face, himself, places is at, his house, his family, along with tons of steroid pictures, stashes of boxes of steroids. And he's reaching out to you, offering you stuff, trying to get you hooked up. Chances are he might be fake. There's a very, very good chance this guy's scamming. It's a very good chance this is some barefoot kid in Nigeria or in Bangladesh or in India at an internet cafe, you know, running this scheme through VPNs to get on Facebook, running scams, running shit. It's the most likely scenario, because you're not going to get a really good source that's going to be reaching out to you and looking for you and spamming you. Those are usually the scammers. Why do scammers spam and come out and look for you and good sources don't? Here's why. Because scammers never get any word of mouth marketing. They never get any word of mouth marketing. They always have to go out and look for new suckers. Good sources, they get both return customers and word of mouth marketing. So they tend to stay pretty busy. They tend to stay pretty busy with the guys that are the regulars that are always getting stuff from them. And they tend to always get new referrals from just people raving about the great service. So the guys may be too busy to go and start spamming your personal Facebook. But you get a scammer it's not able to get a sucker more than once, and is not receiving any referrals, any word of mouth marketing from buddies at the gym and friends telling each other about this good source, then the only way he's going to continue to be a scammer is he's going to be out there looking for you. So that's the number one dead giveaway, red flag. Daniel Will Robinson, don't fuck this up. Don't do it. Is you participate on some bodybuilding fitness forum, memes forums, whatever, and then you start getting emailed, or you get into some website, some forum, and you start getting sent PMs saying, I'll hook you up, buy from me. Those tend to be pretty pretty good red flags that you're about to get scammed. A good source, you have to go out and find. They're not going to find you. What do you think about that, Steve? Would you agree?
Yeah, I'm actually I'm not surprised that this happens all the time. I consider it, organized crime. There's these organized crime rings. It could be, like you said, a guy at an internet cafe, but in a lot of cases it's organized crime. It's guys sitting in a office, and this is what they do for a living. And again, it's not just with steroids. It's not just with steroids. So, it's with anything. They sit there. We're actually going to talk about cryptos later in the show, but cryptocurrencies, if you go on Telegram or on Twitter or any place and you say, oh, I'm having trouble with my crypto account, you'll have a bunch of messages. A lot of people will hit you up and be like, oh, I'm with customer service. I'm going to help you, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll ask you for your wallet address. Then they'll ask you for this. Then they'll ask you for that. And then next thing you know, all the money in your wallet is gone, because they freaking raid your wallet and they steal everything. They steal all your cryptos right out of your wallet. So, you got to be careful. There's a lot of schemes out there for sure. So the fact that you're saying that it happens with steroids, that to me just shows you like how many scammers are out there for them to, choose something like that to scam people with. But I guess there's a lot of naive people out there who don't know how to get steroids. They don't listen to this show. They don't listen to our podcast. So they literally have no clue how to get steroids. So I guess if someone hits them up on Facebook, that's a good market for them. You see what I'm saying? So those of you who listen to this podcast, you know how to get steroids. We talk about it all the time. You come on the forums, you get led in the right direction. But if you go to the wrong forum or you're not aware of the right forum and you're depending on Facebook for things, I can completely see how there would be a market for people to rip them off. But my question to you, Rick, in these situations, what are they using in terms of money? Are they just, is it a crypto scam where they're getting you to send them cryptos? Are they asking for cash in the mail? Because you can't ACH money or wire money from a bank because that's tracked. So scammers won't want to use bank, anything to do with a bank. So I'm curious, what is the way that you've seen that they're doing this? What's the money how are they getting the money from the people?
There are different ways, depending how sophisticated, how high tech or low tech they are. A lot of them, any of them will take crypto. Some of them are still willing to take the route of going Western Union and MoneyGram, and some countries like Nigeria, places like that are really oddball, weird, far off ass countries. Some of them will even take store cards, gift cards, Best Buy and other places tell you go get some Best Buy cards, and and here's what you got to do with them. There are some still that will take bank wires to banks in far off countries, and the way that they are able to kind of like scurry around scamming you is they're not taking your credit card when you can contact the credit card company, say, hey, I didn't get my steroids. I want to charge back. I want to initiate a chargeback. It was a scam. It's not a credit card. You're sending a fucking wire. Once you send the wire, you got no recourse. Got nothing. You've got nothing automatically through your bank like you do with a credit card. You'd have to like go and sue the company to get the money back. That kind of a deal. It becomes a bigger deal. It's not something quick, anti-scam, anti-fraud you can just work out with your bank when you yourself go in and send a wire. It's a different story if your account gets hacked and then money's wired out of your account by a hacker while you're not there. But if you yourself wired the money, your account was not accessed, it's not such a quick 1, 2, 3. And I wouldn't fucking be caught dead wiring money out and then going to my bank and pretending like I didn't wire that money. That would be like you'd be signing paperwork to create the case that somebody got into your account. You'd be committing a crime or two doing some bullshit like that. The only way money being wired of your account can be automatically returned somehow is if you were hacked. And then there's investigation, there are things that happen. If you wired it yourself, if the scammer got you to wire him money to Panama or to Kyrgyzstan or some fucking far off place like that, and you wire the funds, getting them back is an issue. Creating a complaint is an issue. It's not 1, 2, 3. But yeah, man, some stored gift cards, wired money, Western Union. I mean, scammers will take pretty much everything. Scammers will take everything, and they've got different ways of scamming. Usually a legit source, they'll be like, hey man, crypto or get the fuck out. Crypto or go away. They won't, a legit source, usually they're not going to be fully stocked in everything, and they're only going to have 1 or 2 ways of paying. And if you don't like the steroids we do have in stock, and if you don't want to pay the way we accept, then you can go on your merry way. Scammers will accommodate the fuck out of you. Scammers will give you every option in the book, and they'll have every product you need in stock, sometimes several brands, sometimes several of everything. If you start to ask for discounts and bulk deals, I mean, those prices will come down real fast. If you say, oh man, yeah, it's $100 a bottle. Well, if I buy 6 bottles at one shot, can I get them for $70? Would you be able to do that? Yes, of course. Yeah, this one time we'll do it for you. Those prices come down real fast. One thing about scammers is they're very accommodating when it comes to how to take your money and what kind of discounts you want to get, what kind of orders you want. They'll always have everything you want in stock. It's just that it's too easy. It's too easy. It's too sweet. And they answer emails right away. Sometimes a scammer will be more up on their emails than the real source. Shit, because the real source has got to go and receive packs and send packs, move shit around, package stuff. They got other shit to do, real shit to do to run a business. While a scammer, I mean, he's just sitting on the computer. He's not worried about receiving steroids to ship steroids to nothing, collecting money and talking to suckers on email. So those are the things to be really aware of when you're dealing with a scammer. Like 1 or 2 of these things happening during your transaction might not be enough to alert you, but if you got 3 or 4 or 5 different warning signs, that are alerting you, you can't verify the website, you can't get anybody to review who's reviewing the source. You can't, like, you really look at it up and down and see what's going on, and you might find there are a lot of things don't fit. So definitely, even if everything did fit into place, you never want to send more money than you're willing to lose in one shot, really, or that you can afford to lose, because nobody's willing to lose money. But if more money than you can afford to lose in one shot, even if everything checks out and the guy looks legit.
If the glove don't fit, you must have quit. All right, so the next one we're going to talk about is next topic. We talked about forums are the best way to get up-to-date information. We kind of already talked about that one. Do you want to move on to the next one? The final topic?
I think we should rehash it real quickly.
All right, rehash it. Yeah, rehash it really quick. Yeah.
Guys, get your forum memberships, man. They're free. You're anonymous. When you register to evolutionary.org, when you register to elitefitness.com, you're not going to be followed around the internet by the websites. If you search for something, if you look at content there, if you PM with someone, you're not going to see advertisings. You're not being tracked when you get on these websites. Not like when you're on Facebook talking about steroids on that Facebook group like you're a fucking idiot. Not when you're on Facebook and you're PMing back and forth with guys about where to get shit and buy shit. Like, all that stuff can be easily taken. On the forums, it's not like that. These forums are all hosted overseas. You're not being followed around the internet. Once you log off the website, you're off the fucking website. Your information, your activity, it's not being tracked. They're built to be anonymous. And there are other guys on the forums like you, like-minded. They understand where you're coming from. They know They share your same goals. They share the same things you want. They're also trying to, buy some juice, gain a little bit of muscle, look good without getting scammed, without spending a bunch of money, without losing a bunch of money, without putting their health at risk. Just want to look good, be healthy, and not get fucking scammed doing it with scammed sources and scam supplements that don't help you. Really, it's like the place to go. The place to go to be around other people that are as interested in this lifestyle as you are. So the forums, definitely always go there. It's the place to get up-to-date information on who's good and who's not. Is the place to know if a source that you shop from, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 8 years ago, and are they still good? Is this still a good outfit to be dealing with, or did they go south? It's really the way to do it. It's the only place. It's the only way to do it. So definitely get on the forums. Don't miss out on that great resource. Is the best way to stay up to date if you're going to be in this underground market. So what do you got, Steve?
Yeah, for sure. Staying up to date is important. We see this all the time in life. If you aren't up to date on stuff constantly, like you said, you're gonna have to brush up on things. So even if you take a break from steroids for a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever, there's so much that changes that you have to get up to date on things and the way things are. So the forums are a great way. Come to our forum, evolutionary.org. Check it out. Sign up. Find out the best source. Do a log on your next cycle. Do a log on your next change in your workout routine, on your diet, whatever. Logs are a really good tool because they help keep you honest with yourself. So if you're listening to this, if you stumbled upon this show and you don't have a forum membership, you're not active on the forums, come on over, come on the forums. We have a lot of free information for you. We have a lot of podcasts, a lot of articles, information on how to use these compounds, and you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn more that way than you would ever getting all this bad information that's out there in social media. There's something called TMI, and it's something that was my New Year's resolution, was avoiding TMI, avoiding too much information, because too much information can be a bad thing too, because too much information, you get fed a lot of BS, a lot of misinformation and stuff. So it's almost better just to avoid the noise that's out there. Avoid listening to people, avoid social media, avoid, these idiots out there, who all these fitness channels and everything. They think that that's, they're important or something because they have 100,000 followers on social media. That just, it doesn't take a genius to buy followers and be controversial and build a big following. Okay. Doesn't mean that you actually know what you're talking about. So it's very important to get good information, because those guys in the end, they're going to scam you one way or the other. They're scammers. And many of them are ex-cons and ex-felons, and they've had a history selling fake steroids in the first place. And that's the ironic thing. And as a society, instead of saying, this person needs to just go away, we're just like, oh, let's give them another chance. Yeah, so let's give them another chance to rip us off again. That says a lot about a person. No, on the forums, we're gonna help you. We're gonna help send you in the right direction, and we don't have an incentive to rip you off or to cheat you. There's no benefit for us to do that, because we want members. We want more people to come on. So if we start ripping people off, then people aren't going to be on the forum much longer, you see? So that's the key with forums. You have to find a good forum that doesn't rip people off, because there are a lot of forums out there, and most of them are full of scammers and full of people who are going to scam you. We have a zero tolerance on the forum for scammers. If you are a scammer, we find out you're scamming people, we find out you're using the PM system to sell steroids without being vetted properly, then you're out. You know, we don't fuck around with that. That's an insta ban. We don't there's zero tolerance for that. If you're gonna go around insulting people, zero tolerance. If you're gonna do any shit that you shouldn't be doing, zero tolerance. So that's what we have, a good forum. Everyone's friendly. Everyone, you know, gives good advice. So that's what it's all about. It's about spreading knowledge. That's how forums should be. That's the whole point of having forums. You can't go on Facebook and talk about steroids. It's not allowed. You see what I'm saying? Number two, you don't want to talk to people on Facebook about steroids because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And number three, you can be talking to anybody, as Rick talked about. What they're going to do is they're going to pretend to be your friend. They're going to lull you to sleep, and then boom, they're going to pounce on you, and they're going to want to cheat you. You know, there's all kinds of scams. I think a scam that someone tried on me before, it had nothing to do with steroids, it had to do with something else, but they wanted me to buy something and then ship it to them. You see what I'm saying? So that's another scam that they'll do. Like, okay, I'm going to send you money, have you buy it, and then send it to me. And then you end up doing that, and then they never pay you back. They never give you back the money, or they're supposed to send you the product and never send you a product, for example. So that's another, there's all kinds of scams. So on our forum, that's a good thing, is we don't allow anybody on the forum who's a scammer. If we find out you're scamming, you're gone instantly. So, all right. So the last topic we're talking about is Bitcoin paying. We're going to brush up on this a little bit too. So Rick, I want to bring you in on this one a little bit.
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah.
Bitcoin, just there are million and one ways to fund it. I shouldn't say ways, but places and companies that'll help you fund your Bitcoin. Just a reminder, man, don't keep your money in there too long unless you know about the Bitcoin game and you're speculating and you're trying to make money through it somehow. Don't leave your money in there for too long. Bitcoin just had a big drop, so if you had $1,000 in there that you were going to be using for a cycle, and that money was there a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, then it's going to be much less money today, significantly, because you had a drop. So unless you're playing that game speculating, don't leave money in there. You fund your Bitcoin account the day before you're going to purchase. You get all your purchase order information ready. Once you are confirmed and you're ready to go, then you kind of fund your Bitcoin and hit it that same day. Don't leave money in there unless you are willing to ride the roller coaster up and down. So that was just a really short reminder, because I know we talked about Bitcoin in the past, and just want to make a real short segment on Bitcoin at the very end to remind you guys: fund, spend, don't leave funds in Bitcoin unless you are educating yourself on the game, on the Bitcoin, a speculation game, and trying to make money at it, and that's something that you're doing. Don't let money in there linger for weeks and months, because it might change. You might end up with less Bitcoin, or maybe more if you're lucky, but who knows, right? So that was all I needed to say. Steve, anything you want to add to that?
If you just Google evolutionary.org and you put in how to use Bitcoins to order steroids, you'll find a thread that I made on the forum, and you can simply read that thread, and that will teach you how to order. Yeah, I'll teach you how to order steroids with Bitcoins, how to get Bitcoins and all that stuff. It's kind of a quick, thread on it. So if you've never done it before, look, I'm not a geek. Rick is the geek between the two of us. I hate computer shit. I hate all this geeky shit. I tried the longest to not get a smartphone. I tried the longest not to get a DVD player back in the day. I just didn't want to learn a new technology. But once I learned stuff, I'm good. Someone teaches me it. So really now I can't go without a DVD player. I can't go without a smartphone. You see what I'm saying? So, even if you're scared of it and you don't want to learn it, just take the time to read that thread, and I explain it so easy. And after you use it and you learn how to use it, It'll take you 5 minutes to figure it out. Once you figure it out, you'll never go back. So yeah, Bitcoin's a great, great way, and it's very, very convenient. Gone are the days where you go to Walmart and have to deal with, or Western Union or MoneyGram and have to deal with the assholes working there who, you know, they act like they're doing you a favor. You know, it's just like, fuck, you know, I hate that shit. I hate that bad service. So with Bitcoin, you don't have to worry about it because you're not dealing with anybody. You just get the address and send it. Boom, done. You don't got to deal with some asshole who's going to treat you like shit and treat you like a criminal. So that's why I like cryptocurrency. So yeah, definitely check that out. All right. I think that does it for the show, right?
Yeah, I think we had a good show. So with that being said, have a good one, Steve. Have a good one, guys. Say goodbye to the people, Steve.
Goodbye, people. Thank you.